Hey YouTube, this is an introductory video. And what I mean by that is I've already completed this job. So I know the mistakes I made, I know the things I did that I didn't have to do, and I know the things that I didn't do that I should have done, so to speak. This is a 2017 Ford Fusion 1.5 turbo, and we're changing the thermostat. Now, you'll see if you watch the entire video that I took the AC compressor out, and then I noticed that I had to take the alternator out to ultimately get out the thermostat housing. And as I go back together, I see, oh, I'll do this entirely different the next time I do it, this being the first time I did it. What I would do the next time is I would take the serpentine belt off first, take the battery positive terminal off, disconnect the battery. I would then take out the alternator, and then I could see the top of the thermostat housing. There are 3 hoses going to that thermostat housing, and the one nut holding it on is all on the top. But I did notice that 2 of my hose clamps I had to get from below, and only 1 I got from the top. Yours might be different because I think somebody's already been in this one, so you'll see what you see when you see what you see. But then I went to the bottom and took the AC compressor out, and I could reach the other hose clamps. And ultimately, when I took the bolt off and the stud out for the thermostat housing actually fell down below. Gravity pulls things downward, and that's where it went. It could be such a thing that you could do this entire job with only taking the alternator out. You'll see what you see when you get in to your job. Going back together, I noticed that I could see the top passenger side bolt for the compressor once I removed the alternator. I could see, but I don't think I could reach the other top bolt for the compressor. But again, you'll see what you see when you do what you do. So if I were to summarize, serpentine belt, disconnect the battery, alternator, AC compressor, then the thermostat housing. Obviously you want to drain some antifreeze. I hope this is helpful, and if you use just this short video and then go jump on the job, good luck. Watch the rest of the video. I'll try to truncate it as much as I can. I had 38 minutes worth of footage that I'll try to minimize. I don't know how YouTube works. If you decide only to use the first minute or 2, let the rest of the video play. Maybe that helps me somehow. This is my first video that I'm going to try to get some revenue out of. You know, this world is such a way that we don't have retirements anymore. Retirement packages like our parents did, or grandparents. So I'm hoping that maybe this video will generate me some retirement income. So if you decide to only use the first 2 minutes of my shortcut of, serpentine belt, disconnect the battery, alternator, AC compressor, then the thermostat, do me a favor, let the video play out while you're working. That way I get full credit for the video, and I think maybe that'll help me somehow on YouTube. I don't know how YouTube works exactly yet. But I appreciate you watching the video. I hope it's helpful. If you have any comments or questions, or even a short or better idea, put it in the comments. That way everybody can benefit from this. I made this video because I couldn't find one on YouTube for this engine and this thermostat housing. So good luck. I hope it all goes well for you. It's a knuckle buster, so be ready. Thank you.
Hello world, it's Kenny at Torque Spec. Let's get right into it. Today we're working on a 2017 Ford Fusion. This is the 1.5 turbo, and we're going to be doing a thermostat housing today. The thermostat housing includes the thermostat. It comes in one piece. You change the whole thing. This applies to 2014 through 2020. What we'll see today is the 17, and I've already stumbled across a couple things that I want to make you guys aware of, so let's just jump right into it. Now, I couldn't find this on YouTube anywhere, and I was having a hard time finding the thermostat, so I decided to make a video. This is the driver's side of the cylinder head, and this is where you find some thermostats on 4 cylinders. We're looking right now at this piece right here. We got a heater hose going out, a couple hoses going towards the radiator. Oh, that sure looks like a thermostat housing. Not very big though, got a sensor there. Well, after digging down this deep through all these lines and everything, I've decided that that is not the thermostat housing. The thermostat housing is not located on the driver's side of the cylinder head. Let me show you where it is. The thermostat is in fact below the alternator and below the intake manifold. Oh joy, what a bear. If you're stuck doing this on the ground, you'll have to take off the intake manifold
and the alternator. And who knows what else is underneath there. I'm sorry if you have to do it on the ground. It's going to be a real pain in the butt. You'll need an intake manifold gasket, and then of course your thermostat. Well, that's not the best way to take this thing out. Best way to take this thing out is actually from the bottom. So let's take a look-see from the bottom. Well, let's take a peek at it from the bottom side. Below the AC compressor. Boom. That's it right there. That black plastic, you can see the hose coming into it. So what we have to do is drain the cooling system. And fortunately, this model does have a drain cock. Nice. And you see I have a hose hooked up to where the coolant's gonna come out. My little hose was twisted up into a circle, so I've weighted it so it kind of straightens out. And let's open that up and get some coolant coming out of this thing. We're gonna leave the radiator cap on so we have a nice slow dribble. Once we have it under control, we'll open that radiator cap up and speed up the dump. Let's check my aim here. I think that'll catch it. We'll give this drain cock a little twist counterclockwise, lefty loosey, righty tighty, quarter turn. Come on, baby, come out. It's open, why don't you come out? That's not good. What's going on? Is it gonna turn more than a quarter turn? Let's find out. Yeah, we gotta do more than a quarter turn. It's not coming out of that. Yeah, it is. Oh, caught it. All right. Let's open them up. A whole half turn seems to have done it. So we're gonna lower the car. See how it's coming out real slow? We call that a controlled dump. Radiator cap is still on. All right, let's pop this cap. Here we go. Come on, baby, get off there. There we go. And we got him open. And you can see how she's draining out quite a bit quicker. So let's just let that sit there and drain until she's done draining. And we'll see what we got to do to get that air compressor or the AC compressor off of there. And there we are. She's done. She might drip occasionally right now, but not much come out. I don't know, a couple quarts if that. And we didn't drain the entire system. Obviously there's still some antifreeze in the heater core, engine block, and that kind of thing, but it should for the most part be out of the radiator and maybe the cylinder head. So let's go ahead and run this thing up and see what we got to do to get that AC compressor out of the way. First thing let's do, let's close this drain cock and remove this hose. That way when we go to fill it up, we will have not forgotten to close it and end up dumping it all on the ground. That would be quite unfortunate at the price of antifreeze. Okay, looking good. Hey, looky here. See the red? Whoa, screws go in there. This thing did have a cover on it, and someone before it arrived here took it off, so heads up, you'll have to remove that before you do any of this stuff. Look at that, Icon brand. You guys seen this in Harbor Freight? I think the Icon brand popped up a couple years ago. Nice quality tools, nice cases. I started to buy them just in the last few months. I've always been of the mindset that the brand of the tool does not make the mechanic. I remember managing a Monroe muffler brake, and those poor guys, every Friday the Snap-on guy would come in, and these guys would call their wives, and the wives would come running in to make a payment. It was just, these guys are forever in debt with Snap-on. 20 grand, 30 grand, it's insane. It's absolutely insane. A Snap-on puts out a fine quality tool, there's no doubt about it. But lifetime warranty. Why would you spend any more? $65 this one cost me in my local store. Like I said, I live out in the sticks. In the big city, it may be more, I don't know. But look what we get here. Nice quality case. Now here's our tool. And I like this tool. It's nice and heavy, it's solid. The only disagreement I have is ratcheting. Ratcheting, really? For tensioners? I think it causes more problems than it helps. Whoever designed it, maybe they've never taken off a serpentine belt, or perhaps they have taken off serpentine belts that I haven't, where ratcheting was beneficial. I have yet to see where the ratcheting has helped me out, though I've only taken about 4 or 5 belts off with this tool. It does come with a nice extender, and you can change the angle of that. Yeah, well, it ratchets, so you can always change the angle of it. We have our 2 fittings, 3/8 and 1/2 inch male to go into the female tensioners, and we also have female tool here to go on the male tensioners, which is what we have on our Ford Fusion. In this box we have 13, 14, 15, 16. We skip 17 and go to 18 and 19. We also have crow's foot, 13, 14, and 15. It's a nice tool. I like it. Every application I've needed it for so far, I've been able to use it, but I imagine because of the ratcheting, sooner or later I'm going to come across an application where this tool does not work. But man, she's nice and heavy. It's a really cool tool. I like it, and I'm happy to have spent the $65 on it. Let's get this thing geared up and see what we can do to take that belt off. It is not a 15. It is not a 16. It just so happens that we have a 17 on the Ford Fusion. So I guess this is the first chance that I'm not going to be able to use this tool. So with that in mind, I've got my Icon socket, 3/8 short, and my trusty Duralast flexy little ratchet here. I've probably had this thing for 15 years, maybe 20. She's good. I love the ability to do this. Now they have these at Harbor Freight, but this thing's still working, so I'm not even gonna bother buying the Harbor Freight. Let's take this belt off. All right, here we go on our 17. And we want to put our ratchet on loosen because we want to pull this way. Let's just put this on there. Come on, baby, get on there. Get on there. There we go. We're gonna just give it a shove, and I'm just gonna take the belt off the AC compressor. There we go. And let's let the belt hang right there, so we don't have to reroute the whole belt. We'll take a peek over here and show you that the AC compressor, oh, where's it at? No longer has the belt on it. The belt is loose off the AC compressor. That's what we wanted. Okay, here we are under this bad boy, and I have actually removed the oil filter so I can see this thermostat housing a little bit better. I'm going to use the butt end of this magnet to point at it for you. It's right there. And this hose is in the way. I'm sorry, this hose is in the way. And that goes to the oil cooler. And we need an oil cooler when you run oil through a hot turbo. So what I'm going to do is use one of these bad boys. Handy tool. If you're a mechanic, you gotta have them. I'm gonna pinch off this hose, and we're gonna take off that hose right there. And we will also have to move this hose out of the way. It's got a plastic fitting going on the end of a bolt here. We'll squirt some PB Blaster on that, make it easy to slip, and then we'll pop it off of there. So let's get on it. Hose clamps, typically the ones that we've seen around this country for the last 60 years or so, are all 8mm. So we'll give us a little 8mm here. Get our catch can underneath just in case we have a spill. And we will loosen that bad boy up. And we'll peel it right off of there. Oh, she kind of stuck and froze. You know how they get, those hoses. Several ways to do this. Pick. Sometimes you get a pick underneath there. You can break the hose free from the nipple. This pick's gonna be kind of big. Nope, it'll work. There we go. No, that's too big. Get a smaller pick. that's water. That's not oil. That's a water line. Well, we're not going to catch that in our oil catch pan. We'll catch that in our oh, look at this. My old rags I put in a box, and I use those to catch mess. As you can see by my floor, that's a fairly new practice. So let's yank that thing off of there. It's going to come running out of the other side, so I need another clamp on the hose that feeds that. We'll grab us another clamp. This is going to be a pretty green one. And we'll clamp the other side. So we're going to lose, oh, well, maybe 3 or 4 ounces of water here. Pull this off, let her drain. With that hose out of the way, I can get my hand up there a little bit better. Oh, come on, clamp. You ain't doing any good, man. You ain't doing any good. Get another one. That's more better. There we go. Okay. As I mentioned, this whole hose assembly is held onto the bottom bolt for that AC compressor. So let's pop that thing off of there. More icon tools here. I like this one. We'll give it a little squirt of PB Blaster. I like to lube everything up before I start working it. Icon comes in a set of 6, 3 shorts, different sizes here, 3 longs matching the tips. We'll just go on there. Look at that, nice and easy. No ripping, no pulling, no breaking anything. Good tool, gotta have them. Now, when I look up underneath this car, I can see one bolt because I'm looking up from this angle that I have to take off to remove this AC pump. I also see that I may have to unplug the clutch just to move the thing enough, but I can't see above it. So what I like to do lots of times is get on the computer, pull up the new part and see you know, what I can see. And I can see that on this particular pump, I have 3 bolts to take out. 1, 2, 3. These 2 I cannot see. This one I can see. Now I have no interest in emptying this AC system, pulling these lines and then recharging it. Don't want to do it. I'm going to leave these lines attached. I will take off these 3 bolts and I'll see if I can move that pump back far enough out of the way where I can get to that thermostat housing. Bungee cords are handy. I keep them around. I've always said a 3-armed mechanic could make a lot more money and work a lot faster. Well, sometimes those bungee cords are my third hand. So let's see what we can do here. Now we know that we have 3 bolts we have to take off. Okay, we are working on those 2 top bolts. And I'll tell you, it's been my experience. You see this bottom one's real easy to get to. It's just right there. It's been my experience, and I've learned over the years, that when you're in a spot where you have easy bolts and hard bolts, get the hard bolts first. Do them first. I have this one loose right here. Look at this. There's a bracket that went on the end of that thing. And it wasn't on there when I got in there. So somebody's already been in here. I don't know what they've done, but somebody already taken that bracket off. But I have that one loose right there. Now I'm working on this one at the top of the compressor. And I'm using Icon brand, little short wrench with flexi heads. Let me show it to you. This flex a swivel head ratcheting, perfect for this job. There's not much room up there. This one was really tight. I actually had to get a different wrench on there to loosen it up, but we're loose now. So let's just finish taking this thing out of here. And then we'll be able to come down to this bottom one and loosen it up. And then we should be able to move that compressor right out of the way. So let me do this. I'm gonna pause the video just so you don't have to sit and watch me do this for a while. Okay, so we have the top driver's side loose, the top passenger side loose. Now we're doing this bottom one.
After we do this, this thing should be free from the block. We'll see how kind of flexibility we have to move it around. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at this clip here on this clutch connector, and it's not even attached. Somebody has been in here before. I wonder what they were working on. Just curious. Almost all the way to the end here. Come on, baby. Come on out there. There we go. Okay, now you're not going to be able to pull any of them bolts out. Just go ahead and leave them in the housing. We should be loose now. Let's see what we can do with this. Uh-oh. Another thread left on the... There we go. Alrighty, we can move it. Let's move our camera and take a look at our thermostat housing.
Well, we're going to take this alternator off so we can see the top of that thermostat like I just said. Before we do that, we need to take the battery cable off. That's a 10. Then we can hit this hot lead here, which is no longer hot. This one is a 13. We have one here, the 15. Here's a 15, and then one on the side here is a 15. And that thing should come right out of there after we get this other one out. If you're using a power tool, be careful not to back yourself all the way up against that frame. There's the other one. I'm thinking, you know what? We're going to take this off too. We got a little, I don't know what they're calling those, inverted torques. There's probably some specific word for it, but it's not hitting my brain right now. That was too big. If you can see it. That's it. We'll just take that stud right off there with the alternator. Check this out. Found this one at a car show. Guy was selling tools. I love. No. Yeah, that's right. Little 1/4 inch drive. I like those flexible or those floppy heads. Get different angles and such. Looks like that's in our way. We get this out of there. This alternator should come right out. You know, lots of times those engineers, I'd like to line them up and kick them all in the nuts. A little Rochambeau action if you're a South Park fan. But this one here, I'm impressed. Come on, baby, get out of there. Oh, we got another wire below. There it is. We'll clip the on deal. Oh, come on, baby. Give it to me. What's that? You. Let's try this. There we go. Come out of there, baby. Come out of there. Be nice to Daddy. Come on, baby. Well, let's twist it a different way. See what we got. A little dance. Maybe this way. That looks good. There we go. Okay. And look at there. Now we can see what it is we need to see. There's my bolt on top and my clamp on top. We're in business, boys and girls. Well, things aren't getting any easier. We can get to this, no trouble. We'll have to do the other two on the bottom like I just said. This nut's a 13 and here we are on an inverted Torx again, or whatever they're calling those things. I better look that up so I don't sound so stupid. But I'm seeing that from this angle, what I see is
once we get that nut off, we got to slide that whole thermostat housing a good 3.5, 4 inches to the driver's side, and I don't know that that's going to happen. So we're forced to take off another stud, and there's just no room. There's just no room. Let me give you some more light. Unbelievable. There's no room to move that whole thermostat housing that many inches. That intake has to come off whether you do this from the top or the bottom. I bet this could have been done without taking off that AC compressor. What a miserable job. Well, yeah, see, I see a oil sending unit down there that's going to block that thermostat housing. And can't take it this way either. Oh, that thermostat's right next to the water pump. How about that? All right, I've got all 3 hose clamps loose and we're ready to start opening these things up. And I already started this one and she started ripping. So draining the radiator did not empty these hoses. Obviously they're a high-low situation, kind of like the trap in your under your sink, but heads up, antifreeze tastes bad. And it's poisonous. It'll kill you. Come on, baby, get off there. There's one. Who would want to do this for a living. Stupid looking thing. It's going up to the top. There's nowhere to grab it down here. We can squeeze it off of there. There we go. This might be messy. Ugh. Go back. So use my big. There we go. Catch it a little bit better. Wow, it just keeps coming and coming and coming. My word. Yeah, remember I said still a lot of engine or a lot of coolant in the engine? There it is. And now the head of the block. Still coming. You reach up there and it runs down your arm, into your sleeve, into your armpit. I know you guys know what I'm talking about. I'm not the only one. Let's see if we can, you know what? I think I can reach down where that alternator was and pull that big hose from the top. Way I don't have to taste it. Okay, I took that 13mm nut off use my little pry bar and pop that thing out of there. I'll see how far we can go before, yeah, that's the end of it right there. So we have a choice. Either take off the intake, which I really don't want to do, or we'll see if we can get that stud out of there. Boy, it sure be nice if that's possible. Oh man, it would be nice if that's possible. Little swivel head coming handy here. Nope, too big. Let's see what else we got in the old magic box here. Yeah, a little dinky one. Let's try this one, see if we can get that in there some way, shape, or form. I don't see it happening. Don't see it happening. Well, it'd be nice if there was a wrench, swivel head wrench that could fit in there. I don't own one. Oh my word. Ford. I'm a Ford guy. Not today. I may not be pretty, but sometimes I'm sure smart. Look at that. Little vice grip job. Get it loose. I think I can do the rest with pliers now. You get the idea. I'm gonna move this camera so I can do it better. I kept going until she come out of threads and she just fell right down. It's out. I strongly recommend getting some Scotch-Brite and cleaning that hole in there. You don't want to have a leak and do this job all over again. All right, gang. Well, now you know what I look like. My name's Kenny. Basically, we just finished the first R, which is a remove, and we'll follow that up with another R, which is a replace, remove and replace. That's how things are quoted. Before I put the next thermostat housing back in, though, I want to lube this O-ring. You don't want to rip the O-ring. If you rip the O-ring, you're going to have to find another O-ring. Same size, could be a pain in the butt. I lube it with PB Blaster. I love the stuff. I keep it in a spray bottle. I'll spray everything with it. Nuts and bolts, obviously. Anything rusty, obviously. But I actually also spray all the plugs, electrical plugs, anything else that is dry and maybe even dirty. When you get dry and dirt together, things don't want to come apart. Lube is good. Lube is good for everybody. So what I'll do when I go put this back together, I'll lube that up. But I will also take some Scotch-Brite. Either one's fine. Cut me a little piece of it, lube it up, and I'll run around the hole where that O-ring is going to seat. Now this car's only got 77,000 miles on it, so I stuck my finger in there and I really didn't feel a lip of any sort. But if you're doing this thermostat housing around 130,000, I bet you're going to have a little bit of a corrosive lip where that O-ring was seating. You got to get rid of that. Rub it all out, make it all smooth again. Like I said earlier, you do not want to do this job over again. I think we proved that you have to take the compressor off and the alternator off, and I'm okay with that. Like I said earlier, this job calls for about 3.2 to 5 hours, and we're going to fall within that. I'm not going to, because I'm spending as much time moving this camera around as I am wrenching. But ultimately, I think it was a good video to make, and I hope you guys get some benefit out of it. If you have any questions, holler at me, put something in the comments, like and subscribe. I guess that's good. I had some videos on a couple years ago, and people said some nasty things, and I got butthurt, so I just wiped everything out. I'm just going to ignore the haters and hope to help some good guys and girls if you're out there. So leave a positive comment, ask a question. I promise I'll get back with you as soon as I can. And I appreciate your time. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next one.